Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Deb Holland and we're back at the Finland checkpoint of the John Bear Grease Marathon that took place earlier this year. It's an awesome and beautiful Minnesota North Shore event. Beautiful place to film for you guys today. All right, so we've been talking about being a keeper of the cultural flame in terms of leadership of the organization. And there's one key characteristic of dysfunctional cultures, and that is that they have some kind of poison running through the system. And that poison contaminates the environment and it damages people, it destroys organizational potential, it ruins marriages and families, and it compromises community. So you have to identify what the poison is. And the poison can be one really off the chart troubled or troubling or troublesome individual who is just causing chaos all over the place, and that person needs to be reined in. And those people can be very, very subtle in the chaos that they're causing. They might deliberately manipulate very covertly and work in the shadows so that they cannot easily be spotted, so that they can mask their true intentions. If all roads lead back to one person, and that person has a history and a pattern of the same type of bad behavior, then you need to look very carefully at that, because that is a poison that becomes a toxin that then runs through the system and turns the whole thing dysfunctional. And it will take you far, far away from productivity, and it will really hurt a lot of people. And it's your job as the leader to protect your people. The other thing you need to do is deal with just outright, overt, people are having trouble, and it goes beyond the range of what most of us would be acting like when we're dealing with hardships. So if somebody's going through a really tough time in their personal life, that's understandable, but it doesn't excuse or justify bad behavior in the work environment. So most of us, if we're having trouble with whatever outside the workplace, and we may occasionally snap at a coworker, or be in a really bad mood, or be really quiet, or have some visible outward sign that we're stressed and we're under a lot of pressure and we're tense in our interactions with people. Now, I'm not excusing that. I'm using it for an example, so be very clear on the difference. Those folks, which is most of us, then very quickly self-correct. Or if somebody says to them, hey, what is your deal today? They realize, oh, whoops, okay, my stress kind of came out sideways at someone that it shouldn't have, in a way that it shouldn't have, and they'll self-correct and get back on track very quickly. Then there are other people who, for whatever reason, whether it's internal, whether they have an addiction, a mental health problem, whether they just simply have character issues that have served them well all their life, and now they're acting out in ways that are increasingly damaging to the work environment, those folks, they don't have that self-correct mechanism. It's either gotten broken or it's gotten stuck, or in the worst and the rarest cases, it was never there to begin with. And those folks go way, way, way off the chart in terms of how the rest of us handle being overly stressed. So you need to watch for that phenomenon as well. If you've got someone that just seems like that they have gone past their limits so far that there's no bringing them back, that is potentially a very dangerous situation, and you need to deal with that accordingly. You need to deal with whatever you need to do, talk to whoever you need to talk to make sure that an episode of workplace violence does not break out if you have the opportunity at all to prevent it at all, and always err on the side of caution instead of saying, oh, gee, well, I don't want to think bad of this individual, or, oh, this is too uncomfortable for me, I don't want to deal with it. If the victim would just shut up about it, then I wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. Don't do any of that, because you are asking for bigger problems down the road. So, as a leader, the culture begins with you. And I'm going to say that again. Culture in workplaces is kind of this esoteric concept that always feels a little out there. It feels a little outside of ourselves. But as the leader, you need to bring that home. That culture begins with you, and that culture begins in your heart. What is your why? What is your leadership why? Why are you in the position that you're in? What do you want to accomplish for and through and with other people? That is just critically important. You can fake being skilled, but you cannot fake having a good heart. You cannot fake being caring. You cannot fake being committed to doing the very best that you can do. So the culture, this esoteric concept, begins with you. You set the tone. You are the one who maintains standards. And we must require from our leaders that they are whole, functional, healthy, adult human beings. And we have covered this at length in the preceding videos, so we're not going to run through it point by point again. But we need to require that there are no character issues, that there are no controversies that lie outside everyone doing their best in a healthy way. If two healthy people are disagreeing over a product or a process or even potentially over a personnel situation, that's fine, but you don't want to have someone who is just stirring up controversy everywhere they go. And they seem to have a track record of trouble, and when that individual walks in the room, everybody tenses up because they just hate dealing with them. You don't want to have that. What you want to have is leaders with good character who are solid, grounded people who are going to be able to lead the team in a healthy, whole way. And they're not going to be able to lead like that or create that kind of a culture if they don't possess that within themselves first. It all begins with you. And as we've talked before, that's the best way that you can scandal-proof your organization, is to make sure that your leaders are fit for the position. And misdeeds gain momentum, so you need to stop them, because what happens is that one person starts acting up, and then, you know, their buddy, and they're going to show off for each other, their buddy starts acting up, and then this person over here who normally wouldn't act up sees these two getting away with it and not having to do their job, so this one comes over here and joins the crowd, and then pretty soon, before you know it, there's just nothing but absolute chaos going on in the work environment when people are just not doing their jobs, acting however they want. Normally at that point, bullying enters the equation, and people start picking on the weaker members of the staff or the perceived weaker members of the staff. And don't allow that to happen. I don't care how much you personally dislike or have a distaste for any one of your people, whether they are on your team or somebody else's team or completely different part of the organization. It is your job as a leader to protect those folks, to protect even the ones you don't like. That's what being a leader is all about. We need to protect those who are vulnerable. We need to hold the bullies and other folks who are acting out accountable. All that stuff has to be brought in line so that everyone is on an equitable playing field and people are not being damaged in the work environment. And once you have corrected problems and you've created a healthy work environment, the next thing you need to do is you need to protect it with vigilance. Once you get a hold of an environment and you regain control and you wrest that control back from the folks who have stepped up to fill the leadership vacuum that you, quite frankly, left for them to fill because you wouldn't fill it yourself, then once you have a hold of the work environment again, don't ever let go. You have to keep growing and developing as a person. You have to keep taking really good care of your team. You have to be the keeper of the cultural flame, and that flame needs to burn 24/7, 365. That's it for today, folks. Thanks for joining me. And next time we will pick up with a new topic about leadership of the community. And come on over in the meantime and join me on my website at debhollandlcsw.com and on my Facebook page. You can link to it from the website. I would love to have you there. I have fresh new content for you guys every single day. Thanks for joining me.